What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Mercedes CLA 35 AMG. But before we do, if you happen to have a nice car and you don't mind us reviewing it here in Dubai, DM us on Instagram. The link will be in the description. As usual, we will take a look at the engine, exterior and interior, and then we will do a sound check and finally launch the car to test out its performance. Alright guys, so we switched to the lavalier mic. Now I'm still learning how to use this microphone, so if the audio is not so good, please forgive me, we will figure it out eventually. But anyways, as usual, let's talk about the engine. The CLA 35 comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that makes 306 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and it does 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Now let's talk about the front of this car. To be honest with you, I don't know from where to begin because the car is full of things that are really good on the eye, which is a good thing. It is a very, very pretty car. Like me, a lot of people would beg to differ. Anyways, let's talk about headlight. You get these newly designed triple beam headlights to blind the guy ahead of you, and of course daytime running lamps. Under the headlights you do get a fake vent. However, it does serve a purpose. It pushes the air to a side vent that has an air curtain. And speaking of air curtains, it is summertime and the heat has come in full menace mode. It's hot. You get a massive brushed aluminum piece here that goes through the middle of the grille and a big Mercedes emblem. And on the right side down here, you get some more AMG branding, which I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of throughout the car. You get a very nicely designed grille with lots of holes for airflow and extends to the bottom where you also still get lots of holes for airflow. And you get a small lip that complements the bumper of the car.
Lights up the logo.
You want to mention that? So guys, the cameraman really wanted me to mention this part. The Mercedes logo lights up at night. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already seen this before. It adds more of a luxury touch than it is a sporty touch. And yeah, the cameraman wanted you guys to know that. Now coming to the side of the car looks amazing. It's definitely not the sportiest thing ever, but it looks very nice. You do have this kind of brushed back downslope thing that makes the car look a bit more coupe. And I know it's a 4-door, but it does have that kind of coupe style. And that can only mean one thing, that headroom is not going to be very good in the rear seat. And of course, because it is an AMG, you get blacked out mirror caps and black door linings. You do get a chrome door handle, which would have looked much nicer if it was black. And you get frameless doors both on the front and in the back. You also get 19-inch AMG wheels with ventilated carbon ceramic brake discs. You also get a blacked out roof. Now I know the car is already black, so you're not going to be able to tell what's blacked out and what isn't, but in different colors, the door linings, the mirror caps and the roof and the wheels are going to be blacked out. Now coming around the back, the car looks just as good as the front. You get a trunk clip spoiler with very, very good looking LED taillights. Now I really love the lines and the shape of this car. There's nothing very sharp in terms of body panels. It is very smooth, it is very curvy. And that's what makes this car really, really good and really unique and different. But anyways, coming to the trunk, you get some AMG branding, of course, and a CLA 35 emblem on the other side. You get a big Mercedes logo. And to open your trunk, you've got 3 ways to do that. You can either do it from inside the car, or you can press right here and the trunk will pop right open. And finally, you can access it from your key. Now, in terms of trunk space, you get a very, very big trunk, and from the looks of it you can fit a lot of things in there, so this is definitely a one practical car. Now coming down to the bumper, you do get a very basic bumper and you do get a fake vent, which I imagined would be fake. It's just there for appearance purposes and it does look good. I'm not a big fan of fake vents and scoops, but if they really do complement the look of the car, then why not? Under that, you get a massive diffuser that looks really, really nice. It really does stand out and complement the back of the car. Gives it a much more aggressive look. You do get these massive dual exhaust tips and they produce this sound. Now, my least favorite part about filming cars is getting into the back. Thankfully, this does have 4 doors, so this will be a little bit easier to get in. We did switch back to the normal microphone and it's looking extra windy right now, so excuse me if there's any audio issues. Anyways, we're gonna open the door. Alright guys, so let's get inside the back. Okay, so I'm definitely not very comfortable when it comes to headroom. I still do have some headroom though, but definitely I have much more leg room. If you're anything above 6'1", 6'2", you're gonna start to face some issues with headroom. And here's the thing, you do sacrifice some headroom for for great looks. Now let's take a look at the things you get in the back. You get some red stitching with Alcantara, very nice sporty look. You also get a couple of small AC vents, and under that you get a very small storage unit and a couple of USB-C ports. You get a couple of nettings behind both the driver's seat and the passenger seat. Now we have my hydrating machine of truth here that lets us know if we can fit our bottle anywhere, and for the door storage units, it does fit pretty well. And for the armrest cup holder, it's a little bit complicated, so I don't know how we're gonna do this. You do get enough space, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can fit a much bigger bottle in there if you also wanted to. And you get these racy seats that have a hole here for some racing harnesses. Obviously it's a bit more for looks than it is for you to actually install a harness. I would think this is more for the rear passenger to give the driver a bit of a neck massage.
What a joker.
I don't know what's wrong with me today, but I'm seeing this as one of the best interiors I have seen in a very long time. On the front, you also get the red stitching and a bit of Alcantara, and you get these beautiful aluminium brushed door handles. They just look fantastic. They look really good. And of course, on top of that, you have your seat positioning options that you've been seeing in Mercedes for almost 2 decades now. And as a BMW fanboy, Mercedes have won this one by miles. Huh?
What do you want to do?
Film this video so I can go home.
There is no music data available.
Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, this is a very futuristic car. I love the interior. It's very timeless. It looks very unique and special. Coming up here, you get these stripes, which I assume are the AMG stripes. If not, they look really, really good, and it stretches out all the way to the infotainment system. You also get this very nice ambient lighting, and at night it really, really complements the car. Also, you get some inside the AC vents here, which lights up the car very well. And you also get this amazing infotainment system. Of course, it is touchscreen, but that's not the only way to control it. You have a tracking pad down here that makes such a nice sound when you use it. Now, because this is an AMG car, you can check performance. And in performance, you can check many different things. Configuring the car to the way you like. You can check the engine. It'll show you horsepower and torque. And next to that, you have consumption. You check it if you're my dad, because he drives a 5 Series, and I don't know who would drive a 5 Series, but he just does.
My dad's gonna kill me.
And moving on to these very nice AC vents, very timeless and young design. Next to that, you have your start engine stop button, and down here you have all your AC controls, which are a little complicated at first. Down here you get a massive storage unit that you can fit a lot of things in. Behind that you have a couple of cup holders where if you were to press on this, you can now fit your cup in there and it'll be secure. You get a pretty small armrest in the front, but it opens up and you get a decently sized storage unit. You also get a USB-C port. And next to your tracking pad, you have your volume button where you can control your volume, and on the other side is dynamic, where you can choose your different drive modes. You also get some netting here only on the passenger side for some storage. Real quick, let's talk about the steering wheel. One thing that I do love is the shape of the steering wheel. You have a flat bottom, and one of the nicer things about the steering wheel is you have your cruise control on the steering wheel. Now, in most cars nowadays, there's a little gauge over here that you can control your cruise control with. But for this car, it is great. It's right where you can see it. It's nowhere down there where you need to look away from the road. It's somewhere, you know, within your sight, which is really good. You also have these touch pads to change the looks in your dashboard. And as for the other side, you have your fairly basic known things, but you have this touchpad here that does control the infotainment system. You can change up your dashboard setup by going to settings. On the infotainment system, you have sport, which is this one, and then you have super sport. It does take a little while to change, but it is very nice. It does change things around a little bit. And you also have classic, which looks like this. And finally, let's take a look at these paddle shifters. They're not plastic, they look really good, and they feel very, very solid. All right guys, so now we're finally gonna drive the car. We're not gonna be launching it, but we're gonna be driving it and we're gonna be pushing it. The throttle is very responsive and the steering wheel is also very light, and handling is really good. Oh wow. Okay, if you were to get someone who didn't know much about cars and you didn't tell them that this car is not a 4-cylinder, they would never find out, because first of all, you have great sound. What? And here's the thing, we've been driving in comfort mode, so I can only imagine how aggressive sport mode can be. Now we're gonna put the car in Sport Plus and just see how much better it is. So we're gonna put it in Sport Plus. So definitely a lot more responsive. shifts really late in sport. Steering wheel becomes a lot heavier than it is in comfort mode. The car just feels a lot sharper in sport mode. It is very responsive. Whoa. Mercedes have really mastered this 4-cylinder engine, and it is so beyond responsive. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said this car does 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Now, I think something is wrong with what I said, or the website or the article that I read definitely had something wrong with it, because this car is for sure much faster than my 4-cylinder EcoBoost. Yes, it's got 306 horsepower. My car has 310. But now you can tell the difference between a Mercedes engine and a Ford engine. So sharp. It is very, very sharp on the corners, and it's so responsive, and the torque is just unbelievable. Unbelievable torque. The shifting is also very delayed in Sport Plus. Now, when I drove the Audi TT, I said to myself that this by far is my favorite car ever. I've driven multiple cars over the past year for this YouTube channel, and when I drove the TT, I instantly fell in love with it, and I thought, wow, there's never going to be anything like this. And surprisingly, this car has a very similar kick to the Audi TT RS. Obviously, considering that the Audi TT RS is much harder to find and is much more expensive, the CLA 35 has just changed my opinion on 4-cylinders. Now, I thought 4-cylinders are all like my car. This car is really, really fun. It's got some serious performance. Serious performance. Whoa. The gear shifts on this thing. Now, here comes the big question. Should you buy a CLA 35 or an Audi S3? I would personally tell you to go for the CLA 35 unless you're looking for an RS3. The S3 to me just isn't nice enough. This car is uncomparable to the Audi S3. So as you hopefully guys saw, this car is full of performance and it is full of luxury. So if you do have the money for it and you're thinking to go for anything else, in my opinion, this car would come out on top of many cars. Of course, in terms of performance and in terms of interior, in terms of looks, it is very comfortable. And it is a very, very nice, enjoyable ride. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions about this car that you'd like me to answer, please do comment down below, and I'll see you guys next video.